online.
Our young people an opportunity to work. I have met many of them in Tibet institutions, in other different ICT hubs. And at the moment, we have a program where we are working with Kenya Power to deliver internet to as many places in Kenya as possible, so that progressively we can unlock that we can unlock that potential. And that is going to turn around. Because again, I said, for us to be able to create jobs, we have to be intentional. We cannot just assume that jobs will arrive. We have to know ICT hubs, deliver internet, have trainers, have TOTs, train more young people, provide computers. And that's exactly what the gentleman from our Department of ICT has said. Let me move to another space, the space around industry and manufacturing. I think P.S. Abubakar is here. What is the space around, why are we negotiating, for example, a new agreement with America on matters to do with textile? Why are we doing more special economic zones? What are the numbers like?
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think, Your Excellency, your strategic shift or your strategic intent in all this is, first is to subsidize production, 2 is to incentivize value addition, 3 is to expand the market, and 4 is to de-risk private investment. So what we are doing in terms of the market access, we are expanding our market access from the US. Now we have an economic partnership agreement with UK. Now we also have an economic partnership agreement with the European Union, so that we can have a lot of market access for our products. And one of the products which we have a competitive advantage in exporting is in the textile space. So, Your Excellency, in your special economic zones and extra processing zone program, where people can produce competitively to access this market, we've been able to create 10,000 jobs in that space, mostly in the area of textile and apparels.
Okay. So let me allow now, just sit Abubakar. I want the people from the business process outsourcing. I remember I went to Samasos up on Mombasa Road. I remember earlier this year, I went to Tatu City with CCI. They now have 6,000 people working for different companies out of Ruto, here in Ruto. What is going on in that space around the BPO, Madam?
All right, I appreciate that. My name is Anpisa Lola. I'm with SAMA. And if I'm just to paint a picture in the BPO industry, I'm going to talk in terms of numbers just to show how big this industry is and why it's important for us to literally focus, especially when it comes to creating jobs for the youth. So SAMA is a BPO. In Kenya alone, we have to the tunes of 3,500 employees. And this is full-time job, benefits, medical cover, all that. And we have not even scratched the surface. Okay? Now, when you look at how big this industry is, this industry last year alone was a 1 trillion USD industry. Okay? That's globally. Now, bringing that down to the amount of jobs that are created, India developed, I think for anybody who's read about BPO, India developed its middle class through BPOs. Today, India has 4.5 million jobs in the BPO industry. Philippines has 1.1 million jobs. Your Excellency just talked about the 1 million graduates that we are churning out every year. And from an industry expert, I'll tell you, Kenya delivers quality job than India and Philippines. Now, a lot of things are working well for Kenya. Izzy, I literally quoted your word like old laws trying to tackle new challenges, and we appreciate the progress that you're doing in the BPO industry, because today, when you look at Kenya, the BPO industry right now is heavy on English. I mean, North America accounts for 41%. I challenge anyone here that Kenyans have better English than the other regions I spoke about. Yeah? Now, you look at our education system is stronger. You look at the work the ICT ministry in the leadership of PS Tanu is doing in terms of internet, stronger than any other place. We are seeing these clients wanting to outsource to Kenya. And Kenya is not cheap compared to the other. I just want to demystify that. There's been a question on Kenya is cheaper. We are actually more expensive than those other regions, but the clients are preferring Kenya because they are getting quality work from Kenya. Okay. Now, today when you look at this sector, summer alone we are at 51% women, 49% men, and our focus is on AI. You look at AI alone, AI is looking at 826 billion in the next 6 years. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm a strong believer of Africa deserves a seat at this table. Yeah? Kenya deserves a seat at this table because anybody who knows AI knows about AI bias. If you don't train it, it talks about what it thinks. I think I'm seeing you nodding. Because there are movies, you hear somebody who's talking Swahili and they are literally talking a different language. That is not Swahili. That is not what you want AI to do. Yeah? So, Your Excellency, I think just in conclusion, is just appreciating the initiatives around defining this space and defining a space in such a way that it's both good for the workers because, defines what is the criteria, what is the wage, what is all that around, but then also attracting more investments in this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, our focus is in that space. The reason why we are spending 10 billion shillings to expand our internet connection is because people like Sama require very strong internet because most of the time their workers work for clients outside Kenya. Number two is to make sure that the legislation does not impede companies that want to invest in Kenya in the BPO business. It is the reason why this year, as I told you, in Ruiru at Tatu City, we managed to get CCI to invest, and now they are hiring 6,000 Kenyans. They have given us a horizon of 50,000 if we do certain things in that space. And among the things that we are doing in that space is to straighten the law. Part of what I'll be doing this week, part of what we will be doing going forward is to align the law with the realities of the job market. It is not fashionable anymore that you go to work in an office in a tie. If you look at the people working at BPOs, they go there in a T-shirt. And you must not necessarily have, all these other stories. So there is a way that we have to re-engineer our job space so that it is responsive to the requirements of the job market at the moment. So, again, it goes to being deliberate and being intentional. These jobs cannot happen. They have to be made to happen. And I know I'm going to have a lot of problems with employers when I sign the law on Wednesday, because people don't want anything changed. They want everything to stay the way things have been forever. But we have to change. We have to move things. We have to move them in. I think we have looked at the 4 spaces that I had in point. Let me allow Another 3 or 4, maybe I'll start here. One person from here. This good man with a good beard.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Jose Kasikoe, founder member of Jabali Africa, Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, producer, and also I'm a voting member. So I want to go back to the music thing. I know you say you're talking about jobs, but the musicians are going to kill me if I come out of this space without mentioning that to the recruiters who are asking, who are doing the job thing. Music is a job too. Creative industry has a lot of jobs. So, and those can be exported too internationally. I'm an artist that has been eating from touring the world, and with our cultural attaches in our embassies, you can touch base with these festivals. Also in sports, you know, we are world beaters, and there's a lot of meetings all over the world. That's also a job. There's talent managers. There's a lot of sections in the creative economy that we can find jobs in. So I didn't want to just get out of here without asking something to do with music and sports. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my friend. Can I pick up one person? Yes, madam. I think you've had your hand raised for a while.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Virginia Joki, Director for Satma Technologies Company Limited, and I'm also the Secretary General for Kenya Association for Private Employment Agencies, whereby we have 357 members, directors who does recruitment. Allow me to go to FADs. Mine is a request to the government. Mine is a request to the government. There's a discussion we've been having with our CS diaspora, our PS, Madam Rosaline. And allow me to speak on behalf of her and the directors who are here. There was a FAD. We have been following up and requesting if the directors can be supported through the ministry. We normally travel a lot for expos. And you'll find so many directors losing an opportunity to go showcase the CVs they have, the data they can present to their partners the other side. But because of we are not able to pay the pavilions the other side, we are not able to pay for some few facilitation here and there, we would like maybe the government can consider and put aside a fund for us so that we can be showcasing all over the world. And second, for the BLAs that are going to be signed, for skilled work, I would request if the ministry, through your support, if we can be able to have expos, for example, the Serbia, it's supposed to be signed. There's a way we can even have those expos before even the BLAs so that we can market ourselves through the diaspora. Thank you.
Okay. Rosalind, I think that's a good suggestion. So long as you pay your own tickets, right? Yeah, and your own accommodation. So just the pavilion. Okay. So I think let's see how we can support these good people. I think setting up a pavilion for them, they will travel at their own cost. They will go and market the country at their own cost. I think it's a good thing. All right? I don't know. I think, okay, let me be biased. Let's give it to the lady again.
Asante sana, my president. Kwa majina naitwa Esther Mwangi kutoka Makadara, Viwadani, kijiji ya Runga. Nitafanya utofauti, nitaongea kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Endelea. Asante. Mimi ni mama mboga, mmoja mwenye alifanya kazi kubwa tupate hii serikali. Niko na furaha siku ya leo kupata nafasi ya kuongea na wewe Mr. President. Nashukuru Mungu kwa sababu ni kwa neema yake. Nakushukuru sana na serikali yako Mr. President kwa sababu ya hii nafasi ya kazi. Vijana wetu wamepata kazi na kwa hii kazi ya majuu. Lakini swali yangu siku ya leo, mimi kama mama mboga na wengine tuko huko nje, na wengine wenye tumefikisha miaka 46 kwenda juu, hatukupata hii kazi mtahani, na tuja benefit na pesa ya uzee, kwa sababu tuko hapo katikati. Sisi mama mboga wenye tulifanya kazi kubwa kupata hii serikali, wengi wetu tukaacha boma zetu zikaharibika kama yangu, kwa sababu wazee walikuwa wakipigania pande nyingine tofauti. Tulikuwa na shida, mzee wangu alikuwa kwa mrengo mwingine, mimi nilikuwa kwa huu mrengo. Na ninashukuru Mungu. Swali yangu siku ya leo, Mr. President, nikiwa nimesimama kwa hii congregation, nauliza aje. Mimi mtu ako na 46, mama mboga, sijapata kazi kwa vijana. Sija benefit kwa pesa ya uzee, sijaenda majuu. Niko wapi kwa hii kazi? Watoto wangu, ukikumbuka wakati ya siasa pale Karen, nilikuambia social yangu hakusoma, mama yangu hakusoma, mimi sikusoma. Bado niko huku. Mr. President, najifunia kuwa kwa hii serikali. Na nakupenda sana kama president wangu, mwenye nilipiga magoti sana nikaombea. Sisi mama boga tuko wapi?
Aya,
tulipoteza familia, tulipoteza mabwana.
Nitakujibu. Asante. Asante sana. Esther. Asante sana Esther. Asante sana Esther. Asante sana Esther. Nitakwambia wewe kama mama mboga mambo matano. Si ndio? Kwa sababu wewe uko na mtoto. Si ndio? Si uko na watoto? Umebarikiwa na Mungu, uko na watoto. So kama wewe hujapata kazi, ujipange ndio mtoto wako tupangane na yeye apate kazi. Si namna hiyo? Mtu wako hapo utapangana na yeye ako hapo. That is number 1. Number 2, unajua tulikubaliana ya kwamba mama mboga pia atafanya kazi mahali kuna heshima. Tutahakikisha tutajenga soko. Tuhakikisha kwamba kina mama mboga wanafanya kazi. As I talk to you, nikiongea na wewe, tunajenga saa hizi soko 200 Kenya ya kina mama mboga. And most of them are actually in the process of completion. In fact, nitauliza governor wa Nairobi, kwa sababu si unatoka Nairobi? Nitauliza governor wa Nairobi aniambie mahali tuko kwa hiyo mpango yetu ya soko. Ngoja kidogo Senator, Governor Sakaja, just you know, so number 1. So wewe uko hapo utafanya kazi mahali kuna heshima. Number 3, katika mpango yetu ya afya, mama mboga hakuwa kwa mpango ya afya, kwa sababu NHIF ilikuwa ni number 1, watu wenye wanafanya kazi. Number 2, watu wenye wako na uwezo. Lakini sasa kwa hii mpango ambayo tuko nayo ya Taifa Care, wewe Esther, sasa uko na nafasi ya kuwa na bima ya afya as a person. Hii Taifa Care ina recognize mama mboga, na kwamba wewe pia sasa utakuwa na nafasi ya kuwa na bima ya afya. Utaenda hospitali, mtoto wako atatibiwa na hakuna malipo yoyote utalipa. Hiyo ni number 3. Sawa sawa? Number 4. Najaribu kupanga mahali huko kwa hii mpango hii. Number 4. Pale katika mpango ya housing, kwa sababu umeniambia mahali unaishi, si ndio? Pale kwa muda mrefu nyumba haina maji, nyumba haina choo, hakuna stima, hakuna barabara. Katika mpango yetu ya affordable housing, na umesikia ule jamaa wa affordable housing aliongea hapa. Did somebody speak about affordable housing here? No, we're going to talk about it. I know there is somebody from affordable housing. Sasa wewe kama mama mboga uko na nafasi ukijiandikisha kwa boma yangu. Sasa wewe utakuwa na nafasi ya kuwa home owner. Hapo nyuma ilikuwa ili upate nyumba lazima uwe tayari kulipa 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. Lakini kwa hii Nairobi sasa utapata nafasi ya kuwa mwenye nyumba na kati ya shilingi 3,000 ama shilingi 5,000 yenye utalipa kila mwezi under our affordable housing program. Kwa sababu tumesema we want to make home ownership, dignify our people with home ownership. Now mama mboga kama wewe anaweza kuwa na nyumba yake, sio ya kukodesha, nyumba yake ambaye ataishi na iwe yake kwa kulipa pesa kidogo. So these are some of the things we are doing to make sure that we cover everybody. Yeah. So those are among the things I can tell you as we go forward. We have, I'm told it is going to 9. We have only 5 minutes of this. Let me take a question from that young man. And just one question, eh?
Yeah.
And then this side, one question. Yeah, this gentleman. Okay.
Good
Yes.
evening. My name is Peter Ugutu, a student at the Technical University of Kenya.
Yes,
I have a question to you, Mr. President. Recently, we witnessed a move by the Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Alfred Mutua, where he facilitated the exportation of Kenyan skilled energetic labor to external markets for job opportunities. A good move that we appreciate, but doesn't that move leave the Kenyan economy at a bad place with the deprived skilled labor and or stressed skilled labor that cannot meet its potential? A good example is the medical sector, where we have fewer doctors attending to numerous patients, yet these doctors and nurses still form part and parcel of the skilled labor that are being exported to external market for employment. Thank you.
Alfred, do you want to answer that question? It's a very good question from Mr. Ugutu.
The reality is that we are producing more people than we need in the job market. For example, when you look at doctors and nurses, it is not that we do not have enough doctors or nurses being produced. Yes, the numbers are not where we are in terms of United Nations numbers, WHO, of the number per people. It's that we do not have the capacity at this time to absorb all of them. So I see where you're coming up with your point. But I also want to change the mentality where we think that there is what people are thinking of brain drain. What is happening is this. You have, for example, in the ICT sector, a huge number of people that are ready to work, that even if we sent away 100,000 people in ICT, we would still leave this country with so many other people, 500,000, who are still looking for employment. So that thinking that if we are sending people away, we are depriving our country, is not really accurate. Because we have more people out of work who can go and work overseas without depriving our Kenyan local market. In our labor studies, we have not seen any cry by any industry saying that they are lacking people because people have left the country. We are producing people in TVETs, producing people in the universities, so we have a bulge of employment. Your Excellency.
Okay, can you address, there is also one question, Alfred, that people continue to say, are we going through a brain drain? Are we exporting our brain power? Or does it eventually amount to a brain gain? Can you explain that?
What usually happens is this. If you look at the countries that have really developed very fast, you look at, for example, the example of Singapore, China, Malaysia, Indonesia. What they did, these tech economies, was to ensure that their people who went and worked overseas came back home. We are calling this labor mobility because when you're going to work, it doesn't mean that you're going forever. You're going to work for 2-3 years and come back. What we have realized is that when you go overseas, you're able to gain skills. When His Excellency was in Germany, we were talking about Kenyans going to work to produce the German vehicles. So you go to Germany as an engineer, you produce the vehicles for 2 to 3 years, then you come back home. What happens? You're bringing back new talent. Kenya is actually getting brain gain. You're bringing new ways of doing things. When you talk to the construction industry, for example, construction industry are now looking for people who have worked overseas. If you are a plumber, if you are a mason, if you are an interior designer, and you have worked in Dubai, the big companies working in Kenya want to employ you because your skills are a bit higher than the market, than the population in Kenya that is competing with you for the job market, because you have gained new skills. When you go to the UK as a nurse, you go to the US as a doctor, and you gain new skills in those hospitals that you're working in the US or in Italy and other places. When you come back, you're hot cake because of the brain gain.
Thank you very much. And I think just to buttress that point is that, the people going out, they are going out for short contracts. This is 3 years, maybe 5 years. After that 5 years, they come back home. And when they come back home home with added skills. They have gained experience. They have worked in a different market. And most of the time, you find that they have improved on their skills. So it may look like brain drain, but eventually it becomes brain gain. That's what Alfred is saying. So,
Your Excellency, thank you. My name is Felix Chege. I run a company called Real Sources Africa. First, I'd start by commending your efforts on making the African Free Continental Trade Area work. I have been one of the beneficiaries of it. Being a beneficiary means that we got appointed by the AFCFTA Secretariat as a trading company on behalf of Kenya. And what we've been doing is that we've been supporting aggregation exercises for export. As late as a few weeks ago, we launched a Trade Connect initiative, an initiative that looks at shipping 1,000 containers over a period of 12 months to 5 African countries. And we've seen a lot of support from financial institutions in structuring of trade finance elements or instruments that are meant to promote inter-Africa trade in terms of aggregation. And at the same time, we've been able to do market development campaigns to be able to promote African or Kenyan manufactured products across the continent. Our main ask is investment more in market development campaigns. We have a lot of African countries that don't know what we actually manufacture as a country. And we've realized that this information is really important when it comes to providing an alternative of the products that we can ship to the export market within the African context. Other than that is using the products themselves as a collateral for transactions. We've been able to work around an aspect of how can we get our manufacturers to use the products that they manufacture as a collateral when going to the export market. We're looking at, or our ask could be, how can we use the credit guarantee scheme that you have already initiated to convert it to be an export guarantee line that can be used by our manufacturers to be able to guarantee them payments after they ship their products. Other than that, I thank you for really looking into the protocol on youth and women in trade. And we've leveraged on that to be able to access a lot in terms of just opening doors at the Secretariat. I'm a 27-year-old, and I'm privileged to be among the people who represent this country at the Secretariat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chege.
Just Chege.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chege, for what you have said. I think you put it so well that you've given me some homework to do on some aspects. And I will take back the homework and see what we can do better. But congratulations on what you're doing on behalf of many young people in Kenya, taking advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. It's a market of 1.4 billion people, and Kenya needs to move full speed and take its space and place in that market so that we can better leverage the market infrastructure that exists in the Africa Continental Free Trade Area to benefit our own enterprises and our own people. Good people, it's 9 p.m. and I am told it has to stop. I know many people would have wanted to, but as you are aware, this has become now our way of transacting. So there will be another occasion for us to go through this again. Let me congratulate all of you. Thank you very much for taking time. I know all of us are busy people, for taking time to ask your questions, to seek the intervention, clarification. Thank you very much to all the teams that have participated here this evening. And my very best wishes as we work together towards creating opportunities for young people, for our nation. It will take effort, it will take collaboration. I know Sakaja was supposed to tell us something at the corner. Sakaja, do you want to say anything, or I can leave it there for now? Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a great evening. Asante.
A round of applause for His Excellency as we stand. Thank you very much, Mr. President. At this point, we will request that we remain standing as His Excellency will leave at his own pleasure. Thank you very much once again, Your Excellency, for that great delivery. Thank you, sir.
Need 200 shillings, 500 shillings, 5,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings, but they don't have a logbook, they don't have a security, they don't have a title, and therefore most oftentimes they never get any support. It is the reason why we launched the Hustler Fund. The Hustler Fund today has reached 24 million Kenyans. 24 million Kenyans have borrowed from the Hustler Fund. 8 million Kenyans borrow regularly from the Hustler Fund. 2 million Kenyans are very good borrowers on the Hustler Fund. The others are in between. So on the second anniversary, we got feedback from people who have been borrowing from the Hustler Fund. And they asked us 4 questions, which we sought to answer today. Number 1, majority of them said, we want the limits, the borrowing limits enhanced. We have reached the limit, we want to borrow more. So today, we increased the borrowing limits. And I'm going to explain to you shortly how we did. The other thing we did today is to consolidate the collateral enterprise, that even though you may not have a title, or you may not have a logbook, or you may not have a security, today, using the information we have gathered over the last 2 years, we can today, with the benefit of information, confidently assign borrowers in the Hustler Fund ecosystem a credit score. Just the same way Kenya has a credit rating. Every borrower and all other countries have credit ratings. We have also now decided that borrowers in the Hustler Fund ecosystem will have a credit score. So we have credit score ranging from A1, which is the best borrowers, people who pay on time, people who keep their records well, people who save, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3, C3 being at the bottom. These are the people who, they are not too good in borrowing and paying. So they are down there. But they have a chance to improve their rating. So today, Kenyans, when you dial *254# and go to Hustler Fund, and you have been a borrower in the Hustler Fund, today you will know what credit score you have. And that credit score is your new title, is your new logbook, is your new security. You can actually go to a financial institution and say, this is my credit score. And they will assess you accordingly because they know from the Hustler Fund, you are a good borrower, you are not so good a borrower, you are somewhere in between, and therefore, as I promised the people of Kenya, we are changing the collateral infrastructure. You don't have to have a title to be assessed for financial support. You don't have to have a logbook to occur. Your financial behavior is sufficient, and that is why you get a credit score. So every Kenyan in the Hustler Fund ecosystem will get a credit score tonight. That process is going on with our telcos. That's number one. Number two, because we got requests that many of the borrowers have reached the limit and they wanted to borrow more, we decided to develop a product called Bridging Loan. And today we launched that product where the good borrowers will triple their credit limit. For example, those whose limit is 50,000, from today they can borrow up to 150,000. Those who are at 2,000 will borrow up to 6,000. Those who are at 20,000 will borrow up to 60,000. There are others in different categories whose limits will have a multiplier effect of 3, as I said, 2.5 in some cases, double in some cases, 1.5 in some cases, a total of 1.5 million borrowers in the Hustler Fund tonight will get new enhanced credit limits. That is the second item that is going to happen. And it is because of the feedback we got from the borrowers in this ecosystem. Number 3, many borrowers have told us 14 days is too short a period for us to pay back. Can you consider doubling that term loan, that term? Again, today, under the bridge loan, we have increased the time you will take to pay from 14 days to 30 days. And you can continue from there. The fourth thing we have done today, again, is to have a conversation about what borrowers have asked us. What happens to our savings? As you are aware, when you borrow in the Hustler Fund ecosystem, saving is mandatory. And saving is mandatory because in Kenya, we have a serious gap in borrowing. It is one thing that I made a commitment to this country that we must rethink our borrowing. And I am very happy with the progress we are making in matters borrowing. Not just in Hustler Fund, but globally as a nation. Those of you who may want to know is that our savings as a percentage of GDP has always been in the region of between 8 and 12%. Other countries in our category are in the region of 25%, others 40%. China, for record, is at 55%. And when you have money that is saved, if you have a good saving culture, then you build a big enough resource of resources that can be used for borrowing. It begins to give you long-term money, patient money that can be borrowed, and it helps to bring down interest rates. Just for context, let me tell you where we are. Our National Social Security Fund has saved in 60 years 320 billion in 60 years, because we have been saving on average 200 shillings per person. And you remember I had a very serious quarrel about it. Of course, I have since pushed the needle. I discussed with the stakeholders. We managed to negotiate the court cases that were in court, and we finally have a new arrangement. Today, every employee saves 6% of their salary, and every employer adds another 6%. That will eventually be money belonging to the employee. Do you know what has happened? The 320 billion we have saved in 60 years, we are actually going to double that money in 4.5 years. That is the kind of difference that savings is going to make. I just wanted to make that point so that I can come back to savings in the Hustler Fund. We have 3.5 billion shillings in savings under the Hustler Fund situation. Many borrowers have been asking us, who is managing this money? What interest am I going to get for the savings I have on my Hustler Fund account? Now we have worked with World Bank and other development partners. Now KNEST is going to be the arm that is going to be investing the savings in the Hustler Fund ecosystem. And last year, we negotiated with banks. We got T-bill rate -3. With now KNEST, there will be no -3. All the borrowers will get T-bill rate. If T-bill rate is 11, you will get 11% on your savings. If it goes to 12, you get 12%. It is also an opportunity for those of you who have little money somewhere in an account where banks are paying you 3%, 4%. It is time you move that to the Hustler Fund and you will get 11%. It is good information. Whatever you do with it is up to you. So, we have now made the decision that savings are going to be handled by KNEST, and it will strictly be invested in government security so that there is no chance whatsoever of any loss or of any money being misappropriated. So these are the 4 or 5 things that we have today made a decision about. increased the limits by up to 3 times. We have enhanced the term from 14 to 30 days. We have now a credit score for each and every one of the borrowers, which can be used in the financial sector, not just within the Hustler Fund space. And number 3, we have had a conversation and a decision on savings. So this is fundamental. And let me also say this. Of the 1.5 million people who today will have their credit limits enhanced, the highest being from 50,000 to 150,000, there is another 4 million borrowers who must be listening to me this evening. These 4 million borrowers have maybe an outstanding amount. Maybe they have not paid on time. Maybe they have exceeded, instead of 14 days, they are at 45 days, or they are at 30 days. If they pay, these 4 million borrowers, if they pay their outstanding, the window for them to be moved to the bridge loan, which then doubles or triples their credit limit, exists. So the 4 million people out there who have not paid their money, you have a chance. We are going to assess you. Once you pay, we are going to assess you for 2 months, and then we will graduate you to the bridge loan. We want many to come on board. As you are aware, the whole Hustler Fund intervention was to remove the penalization, the blacklisting, the condemnation of people, but to give them a chance to improve on their credit rating. And that is what we intend to achieve. So that is one item that I wanted us to have a conversation about. I will take a few questions on that story as soon as I'm done. The second issue that I want us to have a conversation this evening is about jobs and employment. And we are all aware that close to 1 million people young people enter the job market in Kenya. We also know that currently approximately 200 to 250,000 get a chance to be absorbed. And we have about 7